Hey everybody, welcome back to 3D6 Down the Line. We are once again continuing on with our Megadungeon crawl of the Halls of Arden Vul by Richard Barton using a heavily modified version of the old school essential system by Gavin Norman, otherwise known as Necrotic Gnome. I am John, I am your referee this evening, and going around the horn we have...
I am Mike. I play Gorand the Dwarf, who I believe now just hit 4th level.
Mm-hmm.
My name's David. I play Onweir the Illusionist.
I am Matt. I play Avaricios the Cleric, the left hand of Lysion. Also hitting level 4.
Yes, and Ted is not going to be with us. He is dead to us tonight, unfortunately. But we are going to reap the rewards of his excellent bookkeeping. Because this session, everybody, session episode 23 of the Halls of Arden Vul, is going to be a cathartic release for everybody as they have escaped from the dungeon after many sessions down in Plunger Town, and they have returned to the Inn of the Broken Head in the ruined city of Arden Vul, loaded for bear with tons and tons of treasure. So we have to figure out what exactly they want to do with that and how they are going to recapitulate everything and then what their plans are going forward. And they have a lot of plans. So let's see. To set the scene real quick, it is the 10th of Ligarios. It is the morning, just generally the morning. You have woken up from your first night at the inn. And first thing I want to do just to set it is to roll a little weather, I think would be appropriate. So
how many days has it been since we hit Plunger Town?
It was 2. We were down there for just 2 days.
Yeah, you spent 1 night in prison.
I'll roll.
Mike's rolling. Okay, give me 1 sec.
2d6?
Yeah, 2d6.
All right, 7.
7. I think that's a good one. Warm and sunny day. There you go.
Nice.
Huzzah. Okay. All right. So you you came back. The Dalton's Darlings were there. They were happy to see Yost. Yost was a little bit torn between going back to the Darlings, but also really liking you guys. And you met the rest of the Darlings. They were kind of a mixed bag of like cool seeming people and a little bit shady seeming people, especially the wizard of the group, Heliogabalus, who looks to desperately try to get out of Yost everything that Yost saw whilst traveling with you. And you woke it up the next day. On the next day, a few things change in you guys physically. First of all, on the 10th, Onweir and Gorand, you suddenly feel like you're much more self-aware and can pick up on things a lot easier than you were for quite some time, and your wisdom penalties have ended. So you're back up.
I was worried about that one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
I mean, that doesn't affect them in real life, though. I mean, we're safe.
Yeah.
Player skill, baby. Player skill.
Okay.
I think Onweir actually had like a -4.
I had a -6.
I mean, that tracks.
-5, I think I wrote down. Goran had a -2.
-2.
Yeah, so you guys, wisdom is back up to normal. And on the sort of depressing side, Avaricios wakes up.
No, don't even say it.
Yeah, Ibby is nowhere to be found.
No,
The Ibis of Thoth has disappeared, and you feel you definitely feel the loss. Not only that that constant companion was sort of, you were getting used to it, but you also feel that the attention of Thoth has sort of like moved away from you, sort of like there was an attempt to sort of woo you to his ethos, right? But your faith in Lysion was too strong, and it sort of moved on. However, something else has filled that hole, Avaricios, as you well know.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that insatiable desire to fuck with people, especially those people in power, and that kind of set your heart a little bit at ease. Is that hole in your spirit has been filled by something else?
The Holy Spirit. Okay.
Yes. On the other hand, physically, you feel like absolute shit, Matt. You have lost a point of charisma, a point of constitution.
This is true.
I don't know if we mentioned that.
I did mark it off last time. I see the negative in my column right now. It's very sad.
Yes, and Estelle, Cronus's wife, also told you that it's very likely, in mechanical terms, that you will be losing 1 con per day until cured, until you are dead. As well, Avaricios and Onweir are both still concussed. You lose initiative. You have to roll to see if anytime you cast a spell to see if it'll go off correctly. Right. Okay. So we usually on stream don't ever mention like the numbers of XP. I sort of calculate that right after the session is over, then post it on the Discord for these guys, and the audience usually sees it reflected in there on the little title cards here. I have not changed those title cards yet, but I will for next session, so we're up to date, because there's quite possibility that they may change more than once this session. Who knows? But I am going to go over it briefly tonight. So because of the size of the hall, first of all, regardless of the treasure, there, as everyone probably already knows by now, I use a house rule of my own called Feats of Exploration, where discrete things that they do within the dungeon that are worthy of XP, I grant that amount, like a certain percentage amount that it would. What am I trying to say? That the amount of XP that it would take everyone to rise to the next level, they get a percentage of that amount based upon the size of these feats that they accomplish. So they got a big one, their first 10%er. So that is the feat of exploration for completing a quest and returning safely out of the dungeon. So they got 10% of the needed XP for the next level, which was that's a significant jump, like a really big jump. Now that pales in comparison, however, to what they brought out of the dungeon, which was a haul of total GP value of all gems, jewelry, coins, and objets d'art, was a total haul of 10,499 gold pieces worth, which immediately translates to that much XP. So it was a huge amount. It was so big that the excess XP was actually wasted for everyone except Gorand, for Mike, for Gorand the dwarf. So everyone got enough XP to not only rise in level, but also to rise in another level. However, I'm going to bring this up on the thing so everyone can see. OSC veterans already know this, I'm sure. Right. Okay. So if you look on the bottom left there on maximum XP in one session, characters cannot advance more than 1 level in one session. Any additional XP that would take a character 2 or more levels above their current level are lost. That is the case we are in right now, leaving the character at 1 XP below the total for the next level. And then I'm also inferring what the rules as intended are, and I believe this is the correct interpretation, is that the idea is that the designers want you to experience each level for at least a minimum amount of time. So they want you to find out what like 4th level is before you actually go to 5th. So they drop you 1 XP behind, so you have to spend at least 1 session playing that level before you can cash in again and level up again. So that's the situation we're at now for Onweir, Avaricios, and Mort. So everyone gains a level. Congratulations. First of all, I want everyone, the 3 of you guys, to roll for hit points. Let's do it separately so that everyone can see these. So let's go backwards around the horn. So let's do Avaricios first.
Okay. All right.
Big
okay, my
whammies,
boy.
though. Big whammy, or no whammies.
We got it. We got this. Okay, my boy's got a D6. Temporarily at a -1 con because of his little situation.
Yes.
But let's see. Okay, here we go. Rolling D6. Oh, that's a 1.
Big fat 1.
Oh,
It's a minimum 1, so you gain 1 hit point.
it's okay.
A connect. All
Oh,
right.
that really hurts.
Onweir.
Ouch.
I have a hearty D4.
Hell yeah.
Let me roll that. Bada bing.
Oh,
no!
another one.
Loving it. Loving
Good stuff.
it. All
I can see
right.
that good old owlbear die roller is up to its old
Oh, my
shenanigans.
favorite die roller. Of anything I've experienced is the Albert.
Hey, listen, Unweir's not a frontline fighter. You don't need those hit points. All right.
No, of course
That's
not.
pretty god, man. If they could get a good online die roller, we'd all be 20th level right now. I'd be riding a red dragon. It'd be fucking
We would have
awesome.
won a lot more initiatives, I think. Everyone should know that I have a strong 4 HP now. Oof.
Yes.
4 HP. Nice.
You keep this up, man. You're going to hit double digits in like, I don't know, like 14, 15 years.
Gorand, you're up.
All right. I don't even want to look.
What was that about
You got all of ours.
the big 8?
I take back everything I just said about Owlbear.
How dare him.
We love you, Albert.
Crappy ass. Oh my god.
That's amazing. Did you do you have a con bonus?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
Oh,
Still, you got 8
what?
though. So what does that put you at?
Yeah. That puts me at 24 hit points, dude.
Whoa!
Wow.
Dude.
Okay. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, that's brutal.
You go
All right.
up front, you stay up front.
Yep. So to be clear, this is where we're at right now. Gorand is basically square in the middle of level 4 now, 4th level dwarf. Onweir is a second level illusionist now, but he is literally 1 XP away from being a 3rd level illusionist. Avaricios is a 4th level cleric of Lycion, 1 XP away from being a 5th level cleric of Lycion. Mort is a 2nd level goblin, 1 XP away from being a 3rd level goblin. We have to see what Mort's hit points will be, but unfortunately won't be able to see that on screen this session. Okay, so
Well, can I just say, can I just crow about one other thing really quick too? This isn't, I mean, 4th level in OSE is like a huge deal if you're a melee character, because all my stats improve, like, or all my hits improve, all my saves improve.
yeah, I want to
Like,
go.
Oh, you're gonna go over it all?
Yeah, I want to go over it because a lot of it is my house rule. But you're, I mean, in a good way for you, Mike. So, yes, you're right. So if we go to the dwarf here, you guys can see.
Oh wait,
that
I gotta do a little l'chaim for that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So if you look at the 4th level thing here, this is a new bracket, basically. You where you can see that everything gets better across the line. Like, he's basically stayed the same for the first 3 levels. Now at 4th level is a major feature change. This is not necessarily 4th level for every class, but it is for dwarves. So you can see here that his what under this chart, which is called THACO, but we're actually using the bracketed number, which is the +2 bonus is his attack bonus. So that actually goes up. So instead of being +0 to hit, he's now +2 to hit. Okay. Which is pretty amazing. In addition, all of his saves go down. Dwarf saves are already fantastic, and now they go down. They go down substantially too. Like, he only needs like a 6 or higher on a D20 to actually succeed at like a death saving throw now, or a poison saving throw. So it's pretty sick. Now, the house rule that I have is actually that because we're using hit dice. Class hit dice equals your weapon damage instead of variable weapon damage. That means that since the beginning of the campaign, Gorand's weapon damage has been a D8 because his class hit die is a D8. So any weapon he attacks with, if he hits, he rolls a D8 for damage. That now goes up as well, which is called which I call weapon mastery. And so that goes up to the next highest die type in sort of like a DCC fashion. So that moves up to a D10. So any weapon that Gorand uses, from the smallest little dagger all the way up to a gigantic maul, all do a D10 damage now.
Wow, not bad.
So Gorand, with that level jump and that unbelievably good hit point roll, has become your big boy in battle. So
I'll still get a train run on me by a 4-armed monkey, but you know,
yeah, but relatively it's pretty huge. Avaricios, I believe, gets a sweet 2nd level spell, if I'm not correct.
Oh yeah. Yes.
So he gets his first 2nd level spell.
My next all my saving throws and stuff that goes up for me at level 5.
Yep. So you're going to take that jump in very soon as well, and you'll also get that bump. So where the cleric normally has a D6 for damage, you'll move up to a D8. You'll get the +2 to hit. Your saves will go down. You get another 2nd level spell, so you get a whole bunch of shit.
Now that doesn't affect the hit dice stay the same. That's just the weapon thing.
Yeah,
right?
Your hit die is always a D6, but your weapon will change. Yeah. And then for Onweir, the illusionist, he gets his 2nd first level spell, but once he hits 3rd, you get your 2nd level spell. Onweir, so that's pretty sweet. But Onweir's in desperate need of a spell book, so that's a whole other issue. Okay, so
what need do I have of levels and books?
So true, actually.
He has the magic of chaos.
Exactly. Okay, so that was a leveling up process. Everyone got that stuff written down, all changed up?
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. All right. So, recap of the NPC status. All right, you got 4 NPCs: Njal Oakhart, Tresty, Yost, and Samantha the Red. Njal, this is where they're basically at mentally right now. Njal Oakhart, because he is the one that under Garalad's charm lopped off Avaricios's right hand. And he feels in a very Chewbacca sort of way that he has a blood debt to you. And so that he is willing to stay with you at no cost. Like, he's not asking for anything. He feels that he must repay that debt before he can decide freely to do something else. So he is with you unless you tell him we don't need you. Tresty,
we always need him.
Cool. Yeah, he's a good dude. You know, Tresty desperately wants her spellbook back, just like Onweir. She will only join you if returning to the Library of Thoth down in Plunger Town is on like your immediate agenda. Like she completely understands you need to rest, recuperate, go back to town. But like once you're ready to dungeon delve again, she will not come with you unless you're like, we're going right back there. Okay, because she needs to rest and recuperate too, but she needs to get her spellbook back. Yost is, as I said, undecided right now between returning to the Darlings or staying with the AV Club. Samantha the Red is a baseline NPC. Basically, she lost her entire party the first time she tried to make her delve. So she's sort of like a free agent right now, so she could kind of take it or leave it. She's willing to go back into danger with you guys. She likes you guys, but she wants to be paid for it. So she's a typical hireling. You know that she's capable. She currently has the Manweeper.
That's a big bonus, yeah. Yeah,
Yost doesn't have anything that wasn't already his. Tresty has Goran Shortbow, I believe. Although maybe I missed that, Mike. You're muted.
Sorry,
he was saying, she can have that forever, I think is what he was saying.
No, I'm saying I'm muting myself because I still have a cough, sorry, and I don't want to be blowing up the mic. No, that was actually Squeegee or Mort's Shortbow.
Oh, okay, cool. I know that was like a temporary thing while you were dungeon delving, so she's more than happy to give that back if you want. Njal has the magical battle axe that was found on the corpses within the Hall of Shrines. That was along with the Manweeper. Just so you're aware. They all owe you a debt of gratitude for getting them out of that prison, so they are not going to be like super like if you're like we would really rather have Manweeper, then Samantha's like, that's okay, that's cool, she's cool with it, it's all right. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so things that are at stake here really is you guys have been talking about like what are Heliogabalus's motivations, right? This is the wizard that seems a little bit shady that is with Dalton's Darlings, right? He shook down Yost at nighttime. Onweir overheard that in the common bunk room. Yost is obviously wilts under Heliogabalus's pressure. Helio seems to be Yost's weak point, or at least one of them anyways. And he got out of Yost everything. Any direct question that Heliogabalus asked, Yost basically answered. So he understands the situation in the prison, how Yost got into prison, who all of you are, and the path that you took back. But Yost kind of glided over, like just generally you said, like we kind of moved through passageways and got out. He doesn't describe like you actually found that secret door and went into the Hall of Shrines or any of that stuff about the crazy spaceship or anything like that but you could tell that Heliogabalus understands that Yost was definitely hiding something and is determined to get something out of it. So you know that is a time element. That's an issue. We hashed it out over Discord. I know that you guys are perfectly aware. I'm just letting the audience know. So if you value that information, that secret information of these places that were untouched, with lots of treasure, and you don't want another adventuring band to know about it, then this is an issue for you. Knowledge is capital, basically, as you guys are quickly discovering. You also kind of need to know, you don't need to know, but you may be interested in knowing like what Dalton's plans are. Like what does he plan to do now? Right. And then you've got all of your guys' personal stuff going on. So you have a literal pile of unidentified treasure of magic items, scrolls, spell books, things like that you just picked up and just really have only the vaguest notion of what they might do, or just have no idea. There's a whole bunch of stuff you don't even know if it's magical, right? So you have that to take care of, right? Some of it can be done by memorizing read magic. Most of it cannot, right? And you're going to have to talk to someone who knows how you do that. It's up to you. And then these are the possible goals that I picked up that you guys had mentioned. I'm not forcing these on you, but this is what I picked up from your guys' talk that I wanted to convey to the audience. So the most prominent one that I've heard is that you want to convince Dalton's Darlings to come to Gosterwick with you so that you can keep Yost and Heliogabalus within your sight to prevent them from divulging information for the time being. Another one is that you may want to go back to the library in Plunger Town. You may want to look for, that Isocritus was actually sighted on the surface by the guards. You may want to investigate where they saw him crawl out of. You might want to try to read the henchwoman Cassandra's spellbook that you found. You had mentioned that you guys have already found another entrance that you retreated out of, the very, very deep hole. That was sort of off to the northwest of the main plaza. You were talking about fortifying that and making that like sort of like your private entrance that no one else knows about.
Forward operating base. Yeah.
The FOB. Yep. You were talking about carousing in Gosterwick. If you wanted to do that. You were talking about finding out what Plumthorn's racket is, and exactly what his relationship is with Kronos. And you were talking also about researching Isocritus, what his whole story was back in Gosterwick, like actually like finding out what this guy is all about.
Sorry.
I'm done.
I was going to say, you're missing the main part for the halflings, which is to lop off their heads and wear their heads as like, hats.
Right. Totally.
Yes,
of course. I mean, we can talk
Wait,
about
I don't.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I don't remember specifically the wearing the halfling heads as hats, but symbolically and metaphorically, yes, I'm there.
It's a side benefit. Was there anything else that I wanted to relate to the audience? I don't think so. So I think that's where we're at. Does that all sound accurate? Is there any? You're right, though, Mike. Definitely, like exterminating the halflings or relegating them to not having an influence over you is like a huge goal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they played us for the last time, those little bastards.
Yeah, we have a few. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, go ahead, David.
I don't know what detail we want to get into that, but we had a few schemes. Matt had.
We had a few schemes, but I think I think our main thing is like, let's try and convince the Darlings to get back to Gosterwick with us and delay the Yost Heliogabalus thing for as long as possible. And while Trusty was basically like, I need my spell book, and if you guys promise to go back down to the spell book, I'll go with you. You, Mr. Charisma Guy, might also be able to delay her a little bit, especially if you give her access to whatever is in that spell book that we're going to go find. Like, if that will ameliorate her a little bit, then we might be able to delay Plunger Town again. You know,
which spell book are we going to find? You mean the one we already have, Cassandra's?
the one, yeah, no, the one we found, right? She wants to go back down and get her own spell book, which is
correct.
Definitely on the list of things to go do.
Mm-hmm.
But we should identify this one first.
I think when we get to Gosterwick, me getting the spellbook read and seeing its usefulness is key. I don't know if forfeiting a spellbook that I could use as a bribe to her.
Well, why can't you both? You both got to scribe it, right?
Share it, of course.
Well, no,
my
but
point is,
I
mean, that's a conversation I try to broach with her, but I don't know if she's going to be amenable to doing a timeshare on spells.
No, obviously I get that. Like, I guess my point is like you can't ever actually use that spell book, right? Like you have to scribe it into your own book, right?
Well, I mean, it could just be his, right? Like if can't you just maybe I don't understand, but I thought like if you have a spell book and you can read those spells and there's spells that are on your list.
No. So there's this is an important thing. It's so scrolls are universal. So as long as you can understand the scroll, you can cast a spell. However, spells in a spell book are unique to the owner of the spell book. So you can cast read magic on it and understand what the spell does, but you cannot cast out of that spell book until you have transcribed it into your own book,
own spell book,
or onto your own, or onto a temporary scroll. But you cannot you cannot hold Cassandra's spellbook and just cast from it.
Yes. No. Which so barring going back to the library for me in that case, I'm getting no use value out of additional spellbooks we're finding.
That's correct. Unless you want to spend the money on scrolls.
Which isn't to say that we should prioritize that first, but if you're concerned, because we talked about this in Discord, is that I'm not useful as a combatant prior to doing that, that is a point of consideration. Because I will not.
Well, I mean, yeah, and it definitely
yeah. So if we have a week in Gosterwick, right? Like, what is the length of time to transcribe a spell into a new spell book?
I can look that up.
Is in getting a new spell book started?
Yeah. Like, you're a wizard, man. You're eventually going to have a library full of spell books, like, all over the place, right? And having a backup spell book would never be a bad idea. Would never be a bad idea.
Cost, I think it was like tens of thousands of gold to do.
It's very expensive, yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't think it's worthwhile.
Cost per spell to be recovered is 1 week of game time and 1,000 gold per level of the spell.
Yeah.
So you can literally get one spell back, right?
But that's all he can cast now anyway. So
2. You can cast 2.
Yes, 2. But yeah, but point being is like my prior spell book had 2, 4, 6 spells in it or so, right? So like just recreating
6 weeks and 6,000, GP. I get it.
It's just a quagmire, which is. Again, I want to make it clear. I'm okay not having a spellbook for a while. It's not going to harsh me, the player's buzz, because I'll find plenty of things to get myself into. But again, like if we're talking about like long-term goals, that's something we have to take into consideration. And if that is also a joint goal of having, oh man, her name just Trusty, old Trusty, stick with us. That may be something worth pursuing. I think prior on the Discord we had talked about first wanting to either. Assuming everything goes okay in Gosterwick, there was discussion about either, as I mentioned, establishing a base of sorts through the secret entrance or approaching the halfling situation on our way to deeper dive.
Plunger Town. Yeah.
And I guess the question I would have, which maybe we can just play out with Trusty, is whether she perceives that as moving towards the goal or a distraction from the goal. In other words, if we're like dealing with the halflings and saying once we're finished this, it'll be easier for us to get to the library, is she going to go, well, fuck off? Or...
No, well, okay. So Tressie also doesn't have an adventuring party.
Yeah,
right. So she is. If you make promises to her, she'll stick with you because she's definitely not going to get her spellbook back if she goes by herself. Like she's not going to do that. Right now, but there are 2 other active adventuring parties that you know of that could also make similar promises and make them on a more timely basis. Right, like. Right. Like if Dalton overhears you kind of making this deal, being like, listen, if we take care of the halflings, that'll make it easier to get to your spell book. And Dalton's like, whatever, we're just going to pay the halflings. We're going to go down and get your spell book. You know what I mean? That she very well might be like, I'll just go with Dalton.
Sure. But that communicates.
Yeah, but Dalton wants to kill the halflings too, right? Dalton wants to kill the halflings too.
Yes, he does. I'm just saying that she has options is what I'm saying. Go ahead, David.
No, it's fine. Sorry, you guys have frozen for me, so I'm going to try not to interrupt. What that communicates to me then is that our idea of trying to collaborate with Dalton on the halfling problem, if for no other reason than to keep them an eyes shot, is sort of priority number uno, right? Because that clarifies all these other questions.
Yeah.
Whether we can succeed at convincing Dalton and his friends to get involved in a trench warfare with the halflings.
Right, sure.
And see, what I'm hoping for is that we can kind of create some kind of alliance with the Darlings, so that we can and then promise them the halflings old turf. Like, come down with us, we'll clear out these halflings. You can have that racket. Give us free passage through there. We don't have to let them know that we have our own base that we're setting up somewhere else and we don't need them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Then
they're busy maintaining that, defending it from goblins. They're too busy to go look for spaceships.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that Gosterwick is definitely on the board. Like, you're going there no matter what.
Oh, heck yeah.
What are you?
Yes, I would like to stay alive.
What are you planning on? Are you planning on doing anything else at the inn besides talking to Dalton's Darlings? Is there any other piece of business you want to do here?
I don't.
I don't think so, aside from, and I don't think we're going to do it, but if there's an imminent sense that Heliogabalus is about to get something out of Yost, I just want to be very on top of that.
I totally.
So if I have to poison the motherfucker, I will.
Okay, so you want to talk to the Darlings. So it's all centered around the Darlings. Okay, so let's just set the scene real quick.
It's all
so
Darlings.
It's morning time. Everyone rolls out of their bunks in the private rooms, and you kind of come piling down.
Yeah.
The hands are basically hard at work bringing out breakfast and all that kind of stuff and getting the place up and running again. They're not used to having this many people all at once, especially people that are actual adventurers, like not just statue brokers and peddlers and stuff like that. However, those people are here as well. So if you want like basic adventuring gear, you can get it up to a certain point because there is like a peddler here.
Nice.
The guards head out for their shift. Okay, so you have seen two separate pairs of guards so far. So you saw Cassowary and Edgar, who were the ones that you talked to when you escaped last night. And days ago, you also met Bickle and Francis.
Oh, Bickle.
And they were entering the stables at one point, and you overheard them talking about a failed sortie that they had to the Western Tower at the Rivergate, and about how one of their companions, Randall, got crushed while investigating a skeleton that was holding a silver coffer. Just want to put that out there again, in case you may have forgotten. Many moons ago. So those are like the four guards. So we're going to say that Bickle and Francis, it's actually their shift. So they go out to the thing, and Cassowary and Edgar are eating breakfast with you guys, along with Kronos and Estelle and everybody else. The statue brokers asked you.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys gave them a little bribe, didn't you, in the last session? By the way, I just want to say you guys did an amazing job last session. Thank you. I was not here. I was so happy to be alive. But didn't you guys give them all like a little bit of money or something like that, trying to grease the wheels, or was that Dalton's Darlings that did that?
No, it was Yost. Everybody loves Yost.
Mm-hmm.
They remembered Yost from like Yost always buys them drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So
this is sound policy, and we should start following that.
So as you guys are crammed down on like these big long tables eating, Yost has his face. Everyone else is sort of laughing and guffawing and eating their meals, and like Dalton's sort of like holding court basically because he's so charismatic. Yost has his face sort of buried in his gruel, and he's just like shoveling it in. And every once in a while, he sort of looks up and he sort of like looks sort of like down the table and catches and you can see that he's watching Heliogabalus. Like on where you can definitely pick up on that, right? And Heliogabalus is just sort of picking at his food and just sort of munching, and he's sort of like steepling his fingers in a very Mr. Burns sort of way, you know what I mean? And he's just sort of got like this sort of small smile on his face. He's just sort of looking around, every once in a while, but he never fails to meet Yost's eyes whenever Yost looks up, and then Yost immediately like loses eye contact.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah. Once again, Heliogabalus has long, greasy black hair, very thin and aesthetic looking with a long, hawkish Roman. It is a Roman nose, but it's actually Arcondian nose. A generally unpleasant looking man. And
Professor Snape.
Yes,
he's Professor Snape.
Dalton, of course, is handsome, flowing brown hair, tied back with a leather cord, dashing smile, charming guy. There is Helga, She is the big blonde Whiskin woman, like a very much like a Viking shield maiden sort of woman, but she has a long scar down her left cheek. She's quiet, but she's actually a thief, which is kind of cool. She's like a big hulking, but very quiet and nimble thief. There's Isidore, half hand. He's a male halfling, round and plump. He wears like a ridiculous looking hat. He's got really bad BO. And then there's the other one that was sort of interesting to you guys was Yvette, who is the cleric of Debelaton. She is short with a hunched back with prematurely gray hair and gray eyes. So yeah.
Yeah, I was curious when the eyes turn gray. I don't know when that normally happens.
And Debelaton is one of the 10, of which Lysion is one. Debelaton is the greater god of death, might, order through might, and sacrifice. And she has a symbol of, I think I used the black disc. I think was like I saw the black disc was her holy symbol.
I don't think she's making donations to the community center. We'll put it that
way. Okay, so that's who you're dealing with. I just wanted to kind of set the scene there. So Dalton's sort of like got a rasher of bacon that he's sort of gnawing on. He's just sort of talking. And he's like, "So, fellow adventurers, what does the day bring us exactly? I assume that most of you are on your way back to Gosterwick, perhaps to talk to the Green Lady."
Green Lady again. It's the Green Lady.
Leader of the Lady Alexia. She's the ruler of the town.
Oh, the Green Lady. She's the one who made the deal with. Okay.
She's our pal. We go way back. Avaricios does not look good. Yes, yes, it was a kind of a rough time in the dungeon down there, and yes, we are going to go back. We're going to restock. We're going to take advantage. Get a look at some of the things that we found down there, and actually, we were kind of hoping that you might be able to join us. I mean, we enjoyed meeting Joost and making his acquaintance. And, he went on and on about you and your whole group and everything that you're doing. And we were, quite frankly, we were very impressed. And we would. Well, I forgive me, everyone, if I'm talking for you, but we would like to extend the hand of friendship down there. I wonder if you might like to come along.
No need to extend a hand, Frater. You're friends already.
I mean, it's literally all I've got.
Well, you'll have to get that looked after, and I assume this awful cough that you happen to have. Actually, take this napkin. A little bit of blood there. It's all right.
It's fine. It's some jam, probably.
Well, Joost he's a good man and loyal. Loyal, aren't you, Joost? Yeah, I'm very loyal, yes. Just, can I have some more bread, Yvette? So he looks like distinctly uncomfortable. But that's an interesting, strength in numbers, as they say. From what I've heard, actually, there's a new means of transport down to the bottom of the valley. I'd desperately love to give it a try.
Well, yes, we are quite familiar with this, and you should give it a try. It's really kind of fun.
Well, what do you say, ladies, gentlemen? Shall we join the AV club on the descent down into Burdock's Valley? And they all just sort of like, Isidore, the halfling, is like, "Hi, I'm with him." Not, it's like more the merrier, and the rest of them are just sort of like. They just.
Can I saddle up next to Heliogabalus and kind of put my arm on his shoulder and say, "Plus, I have so many questions about your knowledge, your wisdom, and the arcane, my friend." Kind of like leaning real close and talk to his face.
Yeah. He like pulls away. He's like, "There'll be time for that later, my friend."
I hope so.
Definitely at some point when we're safe in town, I'd love to have a private conversation with you.
Oh, yes, without a doubt. I keep my lamp burning well into midnight, my friend. You're always welcome.
We have secrets that we should share amongst each other. Gentlemen like you and I are a rare breed. We should
Indeed.
Definitely maintain the what's the word I'm looking for? We should hoard our secrets amongst our own kind, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
He sort of like he parts a robe a little bit, and you see like instead of like like a gun, it's actually like a little corner of his spell book. He's like, you know what I mean.
I think he's inviting you to play slap and tickle in the closet.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm getting some really nice energy between these two. I think maybe we read this wrong.
If I have to flirt my way into murdering this man, I will. Do not think
there is a hunger in his eyes when you're this. Yep, go ahead.
Go.
I was just gonna say there's like a hunger in his eyes when he kind of speaks to you in that way, but it's like you can see that it's more. It's not like a physical attraction. It's more like you have something that he definitely wants. Like knowledge. That sort of thing.
Sure. We both possess a power that these fine folk wouldn't quite comprehend, and as you well know, this gives us a certain amount of. And I'm thinking about his sort of fancying himself the leader of the Darlings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Certain amount of import, charisma. We're a guiding light, to lost souls.
This is
certainly we can understand each other in this. Yes,
absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I'm so glad to hear that we're on the same page. I knew when I saw you that you and I are of the same outlook on life. Well, I don't mind telling you this would maybe more privacy at a different time when we're amongst the teeming throngs in Gosterwick. Well, we can talk about my friend over there. Yes, I'm talking about you, Yost. Yes. You see my lips moving, Yost, but you don't know what I'm saying. My friend over there is simple-minded but loyal. But I know that he is. I wanted to use a really fancy vocab word. It's dissembling. I know he is dissembling. He has something to tell me, and perhaps instead of causing him any further distress, perhaps you might be willing to volunteer the information. But we'll talk another time.
Very interesting, of course. If Yost is looking at us while this is happening, can I shoot like a sincere look at him of, I have you covered? If it's there's a way to communicate like, I got your back, bud. I want to do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he picks up on it, but you see his eyes like flit in between the two of you, and he just can't like reconcile it. Like he you know what I mean? Just he just buries his face even further. He just doesn't. He's so worried about
that look. Is that look that a kid gets when his mom is talking with his teacher?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, exactly. So Yvette, basically the hunchback, prematurely gray, Claire, she comes over to you ever so she's like, and she kind of punches you on the shoulder a little bit, and she's like,
that's still a little tender. Okay,
be strong, my friend. If you have strength in if you have faith in your God, you will come through this just fine. And she kind of picks up your holy symbol and kind of holds it with one finger and just sort of like lets it drop like really disdainfully. You have poor choice, but what can you do? Perhaps if you join,
I'm gonna try to like reach back down there and grab it. I'm like, this is not usually the way that we communicate with each other and show some respect. My God is a very cool God, but not that cool about that.
Understandable. It's okay. People get their backs up whenever I mention these things. However, I can't help but mention, should you join my faith, the Bellaton will look out for you and make sure that only the strong survive, which I can tell that you are one, but perhaps for not much longer.
Oh no! You see, what you can learn from Lycion is that it's not just surviving that you want to do. It's having a great fucking time until you get there. You know what I'm saying?
No, don't you hear Don's like, that's the way right there. I like the cut of your jib.
Are you having a beer with your breakfast right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you might as well live it up.
I'm coughing my internal organs out. Of course, I'm drinking for breakfast.
Even the darlings aren't like that with you. Helga, the Whiskin woman, has planted herself uncomfortably close to Gorand. Like she's like a hulking shield maiden, like really big, and she's got like her whole slab of her side is like just crushed up against you, Gorand. You know what I mean?
Wow, how very R. Crumb.
Yeah, exactly. Very much that vibe. Yeah. So
I pass her my half-drunk tankard. I'd be like, "Did you want to share my breakfast?" And hand her like my half-drunk tankard.
So she kind of looks down at you a little bit startled, and she kind of takes it, and like this very sort of thin, sweet voice kind of comes out of like this huge woman. You know, I mean, she's like, "Thank you, I appreciate it, thank you." And she like woofs it down like it one big gulp. Anyways,
yes.
So they all seem to be on board with going down to Gosterwick with you, should you wish. They have no reason not to.
You guys told them that the knights were looking for them, right?
Oh, we haven't mentioned that yet.
Have we not?
Yeah, we should probably have a little quick word with Dalton as the leader.
I thought you guys did it in the last session. He was like, "There
There was
what?"
mention of it, but I can't remember to what extent.
Yes, you did.
Well, we should. Yeah.
You mentioned it.
Okay.
And Kronos was sort of like, "Oh yeah, I probably should have mentioned that they were looking for you." But what everyone seemed to be at a loss for was remembering or knowing why they were looking for them, and Dalton would desperately like to know.
Right.
It is a little bit of a problem. They tend to keep themselves at the Azure Keep grounds themselves, and rarely are found within the streets of Gosterwick. But you never know, and I would really not like to run afoul of them. And if I do, I'd really like to know what the charges are.
For all we know, they didn't want you. They didn't want you for anything criminal. They just said that they were looking for you. So maybe you put your hoods up. We get you to an inn, and then we can go and inquire what exactly the situation is for you.
That would be very proper of you. I wouldn't mind taking you up on that at all.
It's the least we could do for some new friends, huh?
Okay, so anything else you want to talk to them about here?
Nope, let's go.
I don't think so. I mean, I think we should probably arrange for maybe a couple of mules to carry stuff down so that we're not overloaded on our trip down, right? So at least we're like
carried everything here on the way here. Now we can ditch our rations in the bushes and just go, right?
Famous last words. And then they starve.
And then we put the plunger in.
I haven't been mentioned of it before. I don't think that we need to do it now, but I do want to look and see if there are any docks or boats or water vehicles at the end. Does it look like anyone ever uses the river proper to get back and forth?
So there is actually, they keep out in the yard. There is up on posts an upside down, like very basic fishing boat, like basically like glorified rowboat with a couple of oars. But it looks very underused. And Kronos would actually tell you when he kind of sees you eyeing up, he's like, "Yeah, it doesn't see a lot of use. The Swift Rivers, she's a fell mistress."
Gotcha. That is good to know if we need a quick means of getting down that way at some point.
Now you know that the river goes into the city, right? That's the way the current goes. And
yes.
And you've been close to the river. You've crossed over. You know that it's pretty. Can get a little rough. So
it's fast moving.
Yeah.
Were there any rocks breaching it though? Was it like rapids or was it just very fast moving water?
No. Yeah. The second. Yeah.
Okay.
I need to step away before you go to Mike. I need to step away for just a minute. I'll be right back, though.
Okay, sounds good. Mike?
I'm going to ask the innkeep and Dalton. So the dragon that flies around.
Crostonistrix, yes.
Thank you. I always have a problem with those foreign names.
We call them Kraz.
Kraz, okay, Kraz the bleak. Are we going to run into a problem with a large party heading back down to the mountain? Is there any rhyme or reason on who he decides to eat?
Well, that's a good question. You can see he shares a quick little side glance with Estelle, but he kind of continues on without breaking. And It's like old Cross seems to like his livestock and his wild beasts as much as the next apex predator does. Rarely comes after any large groups of men. However, if there's one sort of creature that walks on two legs that Cross has a taste for, it's those damned beastmen. Every once in a while we see 'em up crawling around in the ruined city, at least the guards do, wearing their old Imperial armor, marching around like they're part of the old Imperial legions, but with the heads of rats and dogs and sheep. Strangest things I've ever seen. I don't know what they're looking around for, and I don't know what Cross likes about their smell or their taste, but she loves them, snatches them up and gulps them down.
Has anyone ever actually talked to Cross?
No. I've never talked to Cross.
Has anyone ever sent out a delegation to go find out what his deal is? Her deal.
Talk to Cross. This is Dalton, he's like, that'd be absurd. Why would you willingly go and talk to a dragon?
Well, I can say that the dwarves every once in a while will meet with a dragon and pay it off so it doesn't come and eat them.
Well, you're a rare breed, you dwarves. One knows what you get up to under those mountains, what sort of dealings you've made with pacts with nefarious forces. He kind of says it in a charming way, he's just sort of like laughing, like obviously you wouldn't do that, He thinks you're putting him on, so he's like playing along.
You never know what the dwarves are up to, my friend.
He laughs. You do, however, remember that that the guards related to you that the robed scholars that have fortified the west gate were seen going, or at least seen moving towards Crossonisterex's tower in the southwestern part of town. I'll actually bring that up for the folks at home. Little map of Arden Vul there.
No, that's actually what made me think of it. I just want to know that like a big troop of people carrying like gold through the ruined city isn't going to be like, come eat me,
Yeah.
To the dragon. All right.
Yeah. So for whatever reason, Crossonisterix likes or hates beastmen or finds them to be delicious for some reason. Otherwise tends to leave people alone.
No other adventurers have ever had an interaction with him that you've heard of?
Not in recent memory. Of course, there's plenty of legends, and that's what keeps everyone scared and away from Arden Vul, except for the truly brave and the truly stupid. He kind of raises an eyebrows at you. It's just the threat of Cross herself keeps most people awake, especially when you see her winged form blotting out the sun.
I will say, no one in Gosterwick warned us about that before we got here.
Well, that might have been a slip of your GM. Probably forgot to mention it.
Oh, that GM. You never really can trust him, can you?
If the GM mentioned it, you probably never would have gone there in the first place.
True statement. All right, let's giddy up on the road.
Okay, so you guys have never bought horses, right? Dalton's Darlings also doesn't have horses. So you're gonna have to hike it. I assume that you're gonna be taking the direct route, like you're gonna go straight over to the road, straight down the main boulevard and to the Arden's Hand, correct?
Yeah.
Yep,
closest, shortest thing. John, I did want to say that. So I was at 8 hit points when we got back to the inn.
Mm-hmm.
I get 8 for leveling, so I'm at 16. Do I get any for the rest?
Yes, everyone gains 1 hit point for resting, and then they also gain the additional hit points they've got for leveling.
Cool.
And that's what.
Thank you.
On where you can't memorize a spell because you don't have a spell book. I will have to ask Matt what Avaricios memorizes, though. Okay, so Tresty, would they go? I think.
I mean, we invite them. We say that we'll put them up in town.
I don't see why they wouldn't. Like, why wouldn't they want a little piece of civilization? Like they would.
Not only that, but we have to give them their shares.
Right.
So we're gonna do all of our shares in town.
So you have the 4 regular NPCs plus you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 darlings. So you have 9 plus the 4 of you. So there's like a 13-person band of just straight up adventurers, just heading back. So a large group goes off, Cronus and Estelle, with their arms around each other, sort of wave you off and like, have fun storming the city. And you head back into the ruined city of Arden Vul. You have Bickle and Francis wave to you, the guard towers that you move back. And looking at our travel time breakdown here, total from the inn all the way to Gosterwick. Is going to take you. You guys are moving at what? 90?
Probably
90.
Yeah, we'll assume that the Darlings are probably weighted similarly. They also have a small, nowhere near as large as you do, but a small amount of treasure that they took out of the dungeons as well. Moving at 90, so it's going to take you guys 6 hours total to get from the inn all the way back.
Yeah.
To town. So you head to the elevator. They are astounded at how the elevator works and all that kind of stuff. And you make your way down. Mist is roaring. Mike.
No, I'll wait till your description is over.
Yeah, and then you hit the ground and you move past that tower where you interacted with that strange ghost way back in session 1. Down the cobbled Imperial Road. Yes, Mike.
That's actually what I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry. David, while you're talking, while you're like hanging out, can you like hit up Helioglobulus and see if they have heard of the ghost girlfriend was Eartel, I think, right? And see if in
hippopotamus.
That was a big whiskey. I'm going to be a little sloppy from here on out.
Oh, having a good time.
So the ghost name was
notes. Eartel,
yeah.
And his girlfriend's name was Naima.
So yeah, on the way down, I'll saddle up again, put my arm around Helioglobulus. I'm always going to invade his personal space every time I interact with him. And say, so as we're descending the hand, I'm going to point at the tower below us. Say, so, if you ever entered in that tower over there and happened to poke around, I have a funny secret I could trade with you, my friend, if perhaps you have knowledge yourself.
No, we bypassed it. We didn't think much of it. I mean, look at it. Did you find something interesting there?
I take no offense, but frankly, I'm a bit astounded. A mind like yours wouldn't be curious about a tower. Come, Helioglobulus. Your teeth are too sharp for that.
It's destroyed. It's been water. There's nothing to it anymore.
Well, let me tell you something.
The treasures lie up above, as you well know.
Well, that's a rookie's mistake, my friend. But I won't hold it against you. I'm sure you have many things to tell me as well. We'll just put this notch on my scoreboard. If you were to have, lost your train of thought in the middle of role playing, like one David. If you were to have scuttled in there and taken a look, you might have interacted with a ghastly specter by the name of Eartel. Have you heard this name before in your research?
Eartel?
Eartel.
Yes, I may have heard such a name.
He claims his wife, Niema,
his eyes widen,
was abducted by a Setite. The spark any juices in your frontal lobe?
The spirit spoke true. I've heard this legend. Yes, I didn't realize that it was attached to this particular tower. I thought it was actually within the depths themselves. But yes, I've heard of this. Yeah, it's taken by the cult of Set for their vile practice of, though necessary sometimes, of human sacrifice.
When he says that, do I think like, oh, he's a Setite?
Not quite. You just see like he may jibe with their sort of general outlook.
No, I got you. I got you. Oh, of course. Listen. We all have to pay or find someone to pay for us. The toll of the dead, my friend.
Indeed, we do. It's just a matter of who exactly.
Indeed.
Well, I know that I've done some readings about this particular person and his long-lost love, that her remains may be found in the western part of the what's beyond the initial precincts of Set to the west of the Thothian precincts that the Setites claimed as their own.
All right. Formerly Thothian.
I haven't been there myself, but I've heard recently that the Setites have made a long thought proscribed and eliminated. Actually, are flourishing here in the ruins as part of my mission here is to find them and make contact. And I know that they have reclaimed their ancient their ancient septs, and he actually doesn't say because he's quite well spoken. That from my readings I have heard that his long lost love may be found in an area that contains some sort of large pool. That's all I know, though.
Was this okay, John? Sorry. In our session 1 notes, from yesteryear.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just a description of the lake at the top. It says 270 feet of water, a constant swirling motion from the force of the water. Yeah, that must be. Never mind.
No,
there's like a vortex at the center of the lake. That's not.
Or is
no,
it
not a natural lake. This is some sort of pool within the Setite precincts, within the depths themselves.
Or is it that weird tentacle pool that we came across? We pooped our pants and then we ran away.
Oh yeah.
Was there evidence of Set worship there? Iconography?
There was a lot of evidence of what was it called when you
defilement? They
set
had
defilement, defilement of Thoth iconography.
You may have found it. Did you not look closely? The beast, you said, yes.
There's some funky tentacles in the pool that we did not seek to engage in.
We could bring you back there, my friend.
If it wasn't that itself, you may have been in the right area at least. Perhaps a deeper incursion may have uncovered her, or at least her remains or knowledge of what happened to her.
I have one other question. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you're killing it, dude. Knock it out.
That's all I really have to ask about them. I mean, I could press further, but I don't know what I would ask. I am curious, though. Again, man of your knowledge, you seem to have a sense of what lies beneath Arden Vul. I've heard many conversations about a forum of sorts, perhaps, where different cultures might trade in secrets and goods and various things.
Friend, he makes like a quieting gesture as he sort of like looks over his shoulder at the rest of the darlings and the rest of the AV club, right? And once again, like the spray is like intense here, and his voice is already sort of sibilant and soft.
Yeah, we're real close. I got my arm around his shoulder.
Yeah, and you're like basically soaked through with the mist and everything like that. But he gets like real close to you, and you're taller than he is, so he kind of like looks up at you, but really intense. And he's like, "You have heard of the forum? Have you been there, my friend? Are we of the same?"
I said I haven't, but I very much want to.
As do I, friend. That is exactly what I seek. I seek to get in contact with they run that form.
The Setites.
If we can get in good with the Setites, that means that we will be able to move freely about the form and interact with everybody else within the dungeon. And then we can make our play.
Oh, sorry. Keep cutting you off.
No, he's done.
Yes. So I was right to suspect that they are related to each other. Aha. I have one last suspicion, but it may be off base. I don't know. These innkeepers, do you think they have any affiliation with the Setites?
He like waves him away, and he like pulls back from you. He's like, "Apps, you are barking up the wrong tree there, my friend.
So they're just common thieves.
They're exactly what they are. Dangerous, for their canny like thieves are." And he like looks over at Helga, the huge whiskered woman, and kind of sniffs at it, but he's like the furthest that they would steep to dabble within the factions of Arden Vul are those paltry little men who reside at the base of the pyramid. They don't have the stomach for the true knowledge, the true power that resides deep within the halls. I can tell.
Oh, the power we would wield if we were to get there and uncover such secrets.
Friend, I wish you had told me earlier. I did not know that we were aligned in our goals. Yes, the Setites are the key. They are the key. We have much to talk about. Yes, continue on.
Indeed.
And indeed, we should probably take a break right here before we come back for more. All right,
I've got to make a pee-pee.
Right. All right. We'll be right back after we re-up. Okay, everybody, we're back. We are empty bladders, full cups. Okay, so where were we? Yes, the talking with Heliogabalus at the tower, at the base of the falls, moving back. Anything else you want to do here? You want to go to town?
Go to town.
Go to town.
Go to town, man.
All right. So you travel back along the old cobbled stones of the well-worn Imperial Road, and you may remember how this sort of works. Actually, let me bring it up on Owlbear here. Get a little new scene action here. More of Jason Lutes' awesome homemade maps that we're using here. Loading, reticulating splines. There we go.
It's a good one too. I forgot about this.
Oh,
I'm the one that did
the long.
The labeling.
It has.
So you might remember that this is where's my pointer? This is Toady Lake right here, right? So you guys are actually coming in from this direction, right? And the road actually comes around from the south and comes up the Imperial Way into the city, right? So that's where you guys are at. Let me get my good old mod out here. Hazard keep. There we go. Right. So the huge towers of the keep itself rest upon upon the hill overlooking the town. You remember too that this is a town that's still under construction, so you have those large gates that are sort of freestanding on the outside of town, right? That are not really connected with walls yet, because the walls have yet to be built, which is kind of cool. So you have the Imperial Gate down here, guarded by one of the kettles. The two kettles are these wooden and stone mini fortresses that house the barracks. And as you kind of come up the Imperial Way, you see the forbidding and fantastical pointed tower of the Arcane Practitioners Club overlooking as well. And you head down to the main street. And you know that you have a couple of cool benefits here, courtesy of Eusebia Focus, who is the Thesmothete of Gosterwick, which is basically the highest ranking administrative official who answers directly to the Green Lady, who is a technical ruler, but Eusebia actually administrates the town. And she does so from the appropriately named House of the Thesmothete, right here. You guys have negotiated the lease of the use of the Arden elevator. And where do I have that here? Give me 1 second. Yes. The Arden elevator contract. You guys have decided, instead of like a flat finder's fee, to take a cut of the taxes that are imposed for the use of the elevator, which equates to 100 gold per month. It's not been a month yet, but that will be waiting for you. You'll get that money. But more importantly and more relevant to your current stated desires here in town, she was going to cover the costs of banking that you guys have decided to do with the head of the rarities factor known as Wick Trimmer, who is an imperial goblin who is rarely seen but often mentioned in dark alleys and stuff like that. It is the newest factor in town, and it specializes in antiquities in addition to the normal services that the factors offer, which is usually banking, caravan travel, messaging, that sort of thing. So you have hooked up with Wick Trimmer because of his interest in rarities, and that you can safely hold magic items and treasures that are more than just money. In addition, you have negotiated with Eusebia that you have no fee for using Jeremias the Money Changer's services. So normally he would take like a 3% fee, but you can just change 1 for 1. She will cover that. And in addition, you have a suite at the Stunned Acolyte Inn, which is the nicest, most high-end inn in town. You don't get it for free, but you get a major discount. So you get it for this private. You get use of this suite for 3 gold per night, and only 1 SP for stabling at Sakion's livestock grounds, which are down here, actually off the map. You can kind of see the label down here.
Okay.
This is actually the first part of it right here, the livestock yards. And the stunned acolyte is up here, right up here. This big building right here. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you can see that there's the stairs that rise up to Temple Hill. Avaricios has been here before. Lysion has a dedicated shrine within the House of the Gods, which is the one that sort of houses shrines to not the lesser gods, but just the gods that don't have a dedicated temple here within Gosterwick, which are these 4: Mitra, Heskius, Ban, Dema, and Lucreon.
Thank you for your respectfully chosen words.
So yeah, that's the deal. Plenty of other places to go as well, but we don't have to. I certainly actually don't want to role play out every single thing unless you actually there's a specific conversation that you want to have with somebody. So we can just take care of business if you'd like. So
yes,
what do you want to do?
All right. So I know that number one, very pressing on my list, is to see to my health. I've lived this long. I would like to live longer, please. So yeah, so seeing if I can get healed up at one of the temples. I guess I would need to go to the that area at the back of town there with the with all the different temples to go to.
Sure. Okay.
I think while we're there, we should also investigate removing curses, because both all of us may have some cursed item on us at this rate.
Right. Okay. So, do you want to go to one of the dedicated temples, or would you rather just go to the House of the Gods?
Well, I guess I would want to go to the House of the Gods first to see if there's anybody in my own, any followers of Lysion who are there who are able to do this. Maybe get the friends and family discount.
Sure. So let me check to see if there is someone available. However, there's not. So at the House of the Gods, basically, they don't have like a permanent staff of actual clerical worshipers, right? So there's only the chance that maybe someone was like passing through in town who happened to actually be like a leveled cleric that had like divine ability. So they look at you, the people who just basically sweep up there, and they're like, you should probably go to one of the other temples if you're looking for that kind of service. They mentioned the Temple of Mitra. Everyone knows Mitra. It's sort of, she's often like the default god to worship if you're just like a normal upstanding citizen. She's lawful good. In AD&D terms, popular deity associated with justice, protection, serving the weak, and the cleansing properties of fire.
Okay, I'm not on fire, but those other things sound pretty good.
Yeah, so behind the House of the Gods, it's a circular structure of stone, has fronted with a portico with an impressive pediment, shows Mitra dressed in shining mail, striding among worshippers, dispensing justice, punishing the guilty, the huge. And within the structure, there's a form of a statue of the god dressed in an Arcantian-style toga, holding the scales of justice forward in its left hand.
See, I like her already.
Worshippers place offerings in the right-hand side of the scales, hoping that Mitra will balance the scales, quote, by helping their causes. Yeah, so it's all in all a pretty darn nice place. The clerics here, they offer healing and other services, so they can take care of you. They immediately can peg that you are under the effects of some sort of magical wasting disease. They can get rid of it for you, but they will not do so out of the goodness of their own hearts. They do have a place to run.
Of course, I would not. First of all, I will take note of this, but yeah, he would make a donation in the right hand part of the scale. He knows how this works.
Okay. A proper donation, Frater, would be in the realm of, let's say, 500 pieces of gold in order to rid you of this affliction.
I was going to give that to you, but I also want to put a little bit something in the thing there.
We thank you so much, Frater. All right.
So
do you have the money?
We do. We're loaded up.
Okay. So I need someone to mark that you are out of the party pool that you are now minus 500. Okay. So basically doing this is more of like a ritual. This isn't sort of like come to the back room, we cast a spell and it's done, right? So it basically, I would say this would take up, let's see, it took 6 hours to get here, so it's probably around 2 p.m. now. And I would say it would take until nighttime, till like around 6 p.m. before you're actually done with the ritual.
Okay.
Right? So that's basically like the end of your business for the day. Is there anything else you wanted to wrap up here in the temple that you might be able to roll into that? Let me just ask Matt first.
Yeah, I mean, if there is any way to like check to see if there is like a miasma or any curses, because we picked up a bunch of stuff. To see if anything, if anybody's like very obviously cursed other than me. And he would also just ask, kind of hold up his hand and ask, this is pretty advanced. I know it's asking a lot. Is anyone ever here able to grow things back? I don't want to be greedy. I'm very appreciative of.
You must come to terms with the fact that this is now part of your life, I'm afraid. Learn to use the other hand in the way that you used that one. They tell you.
Well, okay. I pretty much expected this. It was my favorite one, to tell the truth, but
we all have burdens we must carry in life, friend.
Well, now I will carry half as much.
That is the glass half full sort of philosophy, actually. So as far as the cursed items, they regrettably inform you that they do not have the ability to determine that. They can tell that you were suffering from a wasting disease, which they can get rid of, but you were not cursed. You drank that, you know what I mean? They cannot tell, although they kind of shy away from like the items that you sort of present as a party. Like, we think this may be cursed. And they're like, maybe, but we're not going to touch it. And they kind of point you, they tell you in sort of a distasteful manner that is more matters for the arcane, should you wish to avail yourselves of their skills. May I suggest you head to the southwest part of town, outside the town proper, as is proper, of the Arcane Practitioners Club.
Yeah, maybe you guys should just go check out some of these things while I
We're gonna do that while you go get your rectum checked.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't know it was going that deep. Okay. I thought you were just kind of going to go on the outside.
Oh,
but, hey, whatever it takes.
There's a lot that goes into this ritual, Everest. You come out a changed man. Let me tell you. Okay.
So Avaricious would then pass off to, because the thing that he would like to get checked when you guys go is Leryl's dagger that he's been carrying. This was the dagger that we found in kind of Leryl's little room, same place where David, you got the cloak. He would give over a couple of other things that he was carrying that he's curious about, which would be the that icy white potion that we have to get that properly identified, as well as there was another one. We think it's the flying potion.
John, are any of those items stuck to him? Is he unable to get rid of them?
Nope, he can give all of those away.
All right, so they're not cursed, baby. We just need to know what they are.
Okay.
That's good. Yep. Laryl.
Oh, go
ahead. So is Leryl's dagger, a blue potion that we think is flying, white, the icy white potion, and this just that little there was a little panther figure. that he picked up as well. An Onyx Panther. Yeah, so he'd give those things over to get checked out.
Right.
Whenever.
Okay. Yes, so you found the Onyx Panther on one of the set priest corpses that was right before the chamber that had the Thoth Guardians.
Where I got those
with the starry dome.
That's correct, yeah.
John, sorry to have you repeat this. I just am looking at Ted's bookkeeping. You said I had 27 Arcantian pennies.
Yes.
How many? One of which is cursed, the others aren't. But how? Regardless of that, how much are each of them worth?
It's right here. You can see it on the chart. So they're 26 Arcantian silver pieces. However, you can see in the converted GP value that they're actually worth 260. So Arcantian silver is worth 10 times its amount in gold. Right? Ancient Arcantian silver. So you have 26 coins, so it's worth 260 gold, as you can see on the chart there.
Gotcha. So that is correct. And then the additional coin, which would be a mysterious item.
That is, you know for a fact that that's cursed because you cannot give it up.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So while Avaricios is getting his curse removed, then the rest of you guys are going to the Arcane Practitioners Club. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. Here's the deal. So, actually, let me just find out what's the number on there.
Oh, do we need to stash the darlings in our suite for now, so they're not roaming around town?
That's up to you. You guys have told they agree that they don't want to show themselves. You know what I mean? Like they need to take care of some business, so they need to go to the money changer, that sort of thing. They do not have the same sort of deal with Eusebia that you guys have, so they have their own business to take care of. But they are more than happy to take you up on a room.
All right. So why don't we agree to meet back at the inn at night?
So long as there's not a risk that Heliogabalus is going to grill him the minute. I mean, that was the point of having him with us, is to keep.
No, I know that.
So if we send them off to do their own thing in town without us being around, then who's to say that isn't immediately?
Yeah, but also if we stash them in the inn, then that's the same thing, right?
That's what I'm saying. Rather than having them come with us on these errands.
Well, should one of you go with them to the inn? I mean,
I don't think they're giving us that option. I think they're telling us that they have shit that they need to take care of in Gosterwick as well, right?
Then maybe I'm just saying that defeats the purpose of bringing them with us. If we're not actually watching them, then we haven't accomplished.
Well, hopefully Helioglobulus, whatever, like cornered Yost at night when no one else was around. Hopefully, in the busy part of the day, that he won't feel the same impetus to try and pump him for information. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he knows that Yost knows something, but he probably doesn't know that it's mind-blowingly insane.
Well, he's got his suspicions. I mean. Is it the end of the world? I mean, Onwir, you're pretty close. I mean, this guy, I think he's kind of into you, quite frankly.
Right.
You could just go try to hang out with them and see if they kick you out.
I'm fine to do that, but I also have cursed items on me that need to be removed. Mm-hmm. So that I have to go to the Practitioners Club.
Why don't we see if all of them will go with us?
If we get Yost to come along with us and say, Yost, I'm pretty sure you might be cursed. Whatever, right?
Yeah, because... oh wait, none of them have. Well, maybe they do. Maybe they have some items that they would like to get checked out. I know Yost didn't pick anything up, but maybe the rest of them.
Here's what I'll do. I'll turn to Heliogabalus and say, "My friend, I've never been to the Practitioners Club. Have you?"
Ah, yes, you must go.
Would you come? Would you escort me there? Perhaps our shared knowledge will benefit us on our transactions.
I was planning to go there anyway. I'd be happy to.
Well, come with me then.
Yeah, he's happy to come.
There's an Arcantian penny in it for you.
You don't need to bribe me, friend. I am. So he tells you before you get there. Where is it here? Hold on. Gotta find it. Give me a sec. 1 second.
Oh, Matt, we never asked what spells you memorized.
Oh, I can tell you my spells.
Are any of them detect magic, so we can narrow down which items we actually need to check?
I do not believe I have detect magic as a cleric. So forget about it. But if one of them was a snake, I could charm it.
What spells did you memorize?
I did for today. I did just in case we ran into trouble on the road. I had Cure Light Wounds twice, and I had Hold Person.
Okay, cool. So
well, detect magic is totally a cleric spell.
Not that I see.
Number 3. Am I not reading that right?
Bless, Find Traps, Hold Person, No Alignment, Resist Fire, Silence, Snake Charm, and Speak with Animals.
Detect magic.
It's first level, yeah.
Oh, it's first man.
If you want.
Oh, it is first level. Look at that. I'm an idiot. Okay. Well, I will do it tomorrow because I prepared healing twice in case we had some trouble.
Okay. So, the Arcane Practitioners Club, okay, Heliogabalus tells you that it is run by 2 partners, and he tells you that they are, in his opinion, adequate wizards, but they're more savvy as entrepreneurs. They fancy themselves as sort of ex-collegia members, so like they don't actually belong to the collegium of sanctioned magic, and so, but they found that here in Gosterwick, which is sort of a frontier town, even the Green Lady is more than willing to kind of turn the other cheek as long as nothing's blowing up in the tower, right? So they cater to both magic users and illusionists, and they basically run like a training facility for them as needed. It's 4 stories tall, and it has a whole bunch of different rooms for members and stuff like that. But they have a lot of like supplies too, like spell books, scrolls, components, alchemical supplies, all that sort of stuff. So if you need a specific component, like your favorite spell there on Weir, it's more than likely that they would be able to provide that for you. Not for your charge, but you wouldn't need to necessarily go hunting down in a dungeon for it, right?
Good to know.
Yeah. In addition, they are also your primary source for being able to identify magical items. So identify is not a spell in BX, or so that's not a thing. You basically have to experiment, or you can ask a sage or someone who may know. These guys will probably know, but they will charge a fee. So to sum it all up, basically, you have where is it here? Yeah. When you enter in, they immediately peg Onweir and Heliogabalus as adventuring wizards. It's exactly the kind of person that they service as well. They offer to help you with anything that you might need. They can identify most items for around 200 per item, depending on the item. Okay. They will also cast Read Magic for you on any source that you want for 75 gold per like unique item that needs to be read. You know what I mean? So a spell book would be 75, a scroll would be 75, that sort of thing, right? Yeah, so that's basically it.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what about identifying cursed items? That's just part of the sage thing.
Yep. Now they can removing the curse would be a cleric thing, like they would send you back to the Temple Hill, right? But to determine what the nature of a curse is.
It's like being at the DMV.
Yeah, it's nasty. It's nasty.
All right. Well, I definitely need to get that shield checked and the halberd. So I'm going to go ahead and get those checked. The boots, I guess I can figure out on my own for 200 gold.
You want to just try to hand several of these to me first? I mean,
can you do that?
We have discovered now several times that when we have a cursed item, we can't get rid of them, right?
Yeah, sure. I'll try and hand
metagaming to use that in-world knowledge.
That's a good point.
I'll try and hand the shield to Onweir and see if he can take it from me.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try and hand the halberd to Onweir and see if he can take it from me.
Yep.
Sweet.
Anything
Try
else?
and hand the boots to Onweir and see if he can take it from me.
You cannot take off your boots.
God damn it!
Baby.
It was the boots all along. I was waiting for that reveal.
Sweaty too. That's been a lot of trekking in those boots.
You were so sure it was the shield.
I know. I'm going to spend 600 to get all 3 of those, figured out what they are.
Okay, minus 600 for the boots.
Well, that could be out of my own pocket, though.
Shield,
you know,
and halberd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start with the bad news first. The boots are. Let me find it here. Give me 1 second. They're called boots of attraction.
God bless it.
And you know what they attract? Weapons.
Death.
Yeah, exactly. Boots of attraction. Okay. Yeah, beautiful fawn leather boots, top of soft wool. So very striking. Really point out your calves. They are cursed, imposing pretty much straight up. They impose a penalty of 2 to your AC.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Everything just seems to be attracted to them. So that's
will
them.
Will they buy cursed items?
Fuck no. They don't want anything to do with it. But they're more than happy to tell you what they are.
All right.
Yeah. Also, there is no trade. That you could trade magical items, maybe, but there is no buying and selling magical items.
Okay.
Doesn't happen.
What's the halberd?
The halberd. Okay. The halberd is pretty cool. So you found this in the Hall of Scrutiny.
With the dust devil thingy.
The dust guy, yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, exactly. So you know that it would have been there for like a long time, right? This is not like a recent adventurers or one of the henchmen's drops or anything like that, right? Something ancient. So this one takes a while. I'm going to say like all this stuff that you're identifying basically takes up like the rest of the day for them. You can go off and do other shit, but they won't relay the information until like maybe nighttime, maybe even the next day. This one took them a long time because they had to verify that it is actually what they thought it was when they looked the engraving on the brass hilt and all that sort of stuff. And they're like, this is a unique item. All magic weapons are actually, but it has a name. It's called Set's Bane.
Ooh,
which is a good.
That's nice.
And as they hand it back to you, and they sort of, do you consider yourself a dwarf of the law, Goran Blackhood?
Kind of walk the middle road a little bit.
I understand. It may be of less use for you than someone who actually upholds order, but for you, it is a halberd +1.
Okay.
But in the hands of someone who fights for justice and protects the weak, in other words, lawful people, it is a halberd +2. It is +3 versus evil clerics, and it is +4 versus clerics of Set. It is nasty. Nasty.
Good thing all of us rolled real lawfully.
I might have to start rethinking my my outlook on life.
Yeah, that's called Set's Bane.
Okay.
Okay.
And what about the shield?
The shield had the arms of House Junianos on it, right? I believe it was like a fist holding an anchor on a blue field that was shaped to the blue field look like waves.
Yeah,
you know, that's a naval.
Wrote down.
Yeah, in a way that made it look like ocean waves. One of the high houses still existing of Arkantos. It is a straight up shield +2, which is really good because that basically gives you like a +4 to AC.
And what happens if it's sundered or whatever?
There's rules for that, but I can't remember exactly what I did. But there's it. I have to look up my house rules. I don't have them in front of me.
Yeah, okay. You can't use a halberd and a shield, right? Halberds are two-handed.
Nope. Yep. Halberds are also specialized, which means that you have to have strength as one of your prime requisites. Strength or dex, maybe. I think it's strength.
I think I have a strength.
You can wield it without it, but you suffer a penalty if you don't.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Now, David, like, Avarisos was carrying that dagger just to like distribute stuff. He can't use it, right? Like clerics can't use bladed weapons.
True.
Anyway, right? Like I have that. That's my understanding. That's correct. So it's probably for you anyway. So if you think it's something that you might use, Avarisos would be like, yeah, you should get this checked out because I was just holding it. I don't need it.
Yeah, we might as well. I have that and Cassandra's dagger, right? So
this is what I have that that I've kind of consolidated into like things that you might possibly want to know more about. Cassandra's dagger, the Onyx Panther. You found a elaborate bronze key on one of the set priests. You found the letters in Laryl's chamber that you wanted to know more about. The silver penny that you're carrying, David.
I have the sling as well.
The Manweeper, the Rancer, the sling, the Njaal's battle axe, the icy white potion. Then I have 3 different scrolls plus a spell book. And then you have the 3 separate items that you took from Laryl's chamber, which was the sack, the pin, otherwise known as the dagger, and the cloak.
Yes,
that's what I have down. Oh, and also and an Onweir's wand.
Right. So my that's a lot of items and a lot of money. I think we should prioritize spending money to remove curses that we know exist over identifying lower priority items that we may not use in the immediate. That's how much per item again?
It's around 200-ish. You've already spent
8,
600.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So that's 14 or 15 items at 200 a pop is a hefty penny. So what I would do...
If only we had a mage.
Sorry?
Head's first dead character, the mage.
Oh. I would prioritize the penny first because I want to get it removed if it's cursed.
Okay, you want to spend the money?
So I'll do 200 for that.
Well, let me just ask, if you know it's cursed, do you want to just get the curse broken? I mean, do you need to get it identified?
John seemed to indicate that we have to get it identified before the priest will remove the curse.
Is that
no. If you don't care to know what it does, they can just you know what I mean. Like if you tell them that you think it's cursed, they're happy to take your money and do it.
I thought
and the remove curse won't just remove all your curses, right?
No, you have to pick an item. Yeah, but they would be trusting. Basically, they would perform the ritual. They would go in blind, just assuming that you are correct and assuming that the item is cursed, and then they would use it. And if it's cursed, it is, and if it's not, it nothing happens, but they still take your money. Do you know what I mean?
Is it fair to say that Mike wouldn't have identified the boots if that were the case?
He didn't know that the boots were the ones that were cursed.
Yeah, he didn't have.
I thought it was the shield.
Yeah.
No, I know, but he knew they were not cursed when he tried to take them off, not when he had them identify it. In other words, he didn't require them identifying it to know that the boots were cursed.
That's true. Yeah.
In the same way that I know that the penny's cursed because I can't remove it.
Yep, that's true. Yep. You basically was paying for the knowledge of what exactly what the curse was, but if you want the money back because you just were like, oh fuck, I can't take these off, then you can just go back.
I don't want to retcon that shit, John.
I don't mind. Whatever, doesn't matter to me. We're just doing business here.
Just doing business, baby. I'm gonna lean to Heliogoblus and say, these men seem to be practicing the dark arts of wizard Adam Smith and David Hume.
Distasteful, I know.
Distasteful self-interest does not bring equilibrium in my view of the world. But who am I to say?
They are
different magics for different people.
Content to sit on their laurels with the knowledge that they have.
That being the case, sorry, I cut you off, John.
I'll be right back, guys.
Go ahead. What do you want to do?
That being the case, I'm not going to identify the penny because I don't need to know. I do think, man, of the items we'd like to identify, I'd like to identify for myself the sling and bullets because I might be able to use that when I don't have a spell book.
Okay.
So I'd spend 200 on the sling.
Okay. So the sling is a sling +2, which applies to any ammunition that's put into it. Okay. And it has a name. It's called Shrieker.
Nice.
You have yet to use this sling. However, the practitioners at the club tell you that, and they sort of demonstrated it as well, that it whistles when it's used. So whenever you whirl it around, right, in your hand, it actually lets out like a shrieking whistle as it whistles through the air.
That's fascinating. Okay.
Yeah. And which is very piercing, right? So that's, it's good and bad, how to review it. But in addition, it can also actually be used in the same manner as an alarm spell once per day. So you can actually like put it in your campsite, and it will, as long as you put like a bullet into like its satchel, it will shriek and set off an alarm in the camp. Well, you could.
That's amazing.
That's
a really cool item.
I should say like that would be the obvious use for it, but basically it can act as an alarm spell once per day for any sort of way that you want it to. You just have to basically arm it and like release it, like put it somewhere. You know what I mean?
That's super rad.
Yeah. And it's called Shrieker.
Got it. So that was 200. Okay. Big list here. Guys, I mean, we have 2 daggers. We have the cloak I'm wearing. We have a battle axe. We have several large martial weapons. Would we rather, prior to doing martial weapons, do things like his sack and the Panther, Onyx Panther and stuff?
Like the weird looking stuff.
This dungeon is like purposeful, right? So a lot of times like the treasure, you should not only think about like what potential utility it may have for you, but also like maybe the context in which you found it, right? Can also be an important thing,
So I would maybe take the no, because the sack is something that you took off Arden, right? That was not the silk person.
No, Ted has the bag, and also Ted has kind of figured out what the bag does.
This is the one we requirement. Broke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh
no, the one that he can take one thing out of at a time.
Gotcha.
Right. He's been experimenting.
Do we want to identify it, or do we want to just roll?
Can we just make the agreement though that magic items we gave to the NPCs, they need to identify that shit themselves. Like we're not going to pay for that, right? Like Man Weeper, we're not going to. That's on her.
Right? They're saying that they will give that. They were happy to give those back to you should you be able to find use for them. They'll pay for the identification if you want, but if you want to know what those do, like basically if they spend the money to identify it, then they're going to keep them.
I think they should keep. Like I think she should keep Man Weeper, right? Like I mean. But maybe it comes that maybe we reduce her amount of gold for that, right? Like because we're going to give them shares of treasure. We haven't even shared out treasure yet.
Yeah, this is my thing I'm not sure of is if we start blowing cash and we haven't even figured out what our books really look like. Sans.
Well, I know, they're scheming. I know we kind of like when we did our accounting. Thank you, Ted. Even though you're dead to us, we appreciate it. If we divided everything among all 8 survivors equally, it was 1312 each.
So multiply 1312 times 4, and that's like basically your budget, unless you want to give them less than their fair share. But that would give you like sort of a number to work with, though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So what's 13 times 12?
If they get a magic item, right? Y'all got the axe, right? And Sam got Man Weeper, right? Like those are the 2 things. Mm-hmm. They each got a magical item. So we should be able to reduce their amount of money, say, we don't know how much they're worth, but give them the option of either keeping the items or giving us half their cash back, right?
Yeah, I'd say we don't have to get like the nitty-gritty on camera. I'm just saying that you guys can determine like who gets what and all that kind of stuff. I'm just like, I'm not going to have them make that decision. So if you want them to have the weapons, then they will identify, and you will, unless they feel like they want to tell you, they'll spend the money and do it on their own. But if you want the weapons and you want to identify them and keep them, then they're fine with that too. Like I'm just basically you do whatever you want, basically.
Yeah, it's and we have enough cash. We can each go and like identify a couple. Like you needed 3 things, you did 3 things. We can do 2 or 3 things.
Yeah. But just like a round number to sort of gauge like what you're working with, and then maybe if you want to further break down like what shares, who's getting what share. But around right now, if you want to keep it equal, you're looking at about 5250 is what the party budget is right now. You spent about 1100 so far out of that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Avaricios, what would you like to identify? Why don't we go around the horn that way?
The 2 things that I am most curious about are the Panther And well, shoot, I'm really curious. Oh, shoot, I've got 3. Okay, I've got 3.
Go for
The
it.
key, the bronze key, the Onyx Panther, and the and Laryl's dagger. Those are the 3 things that I'm curious about, even though I can't use the dagger.
Yeah, but should we hold off on that until we actually get, like, you get tomorrow, you could detect magic on it. You can even see if the Panther is magical, right? Like, I don't want to hand it to a sage and have him charge us $200 to be like, cool statue, bro. We don't know that it's magic.
We're here at least for a week. We can come back.
Yeah, but why don't we just come back tomorrow? Why don't we get our curses taken care of? David's got a curse. I've got a curse. We don't know if you've got a curse, but you're off getting that decursed anyway, right? Like getting healed now.
I'm at the spa. Yeah.
So tomorrow, cast Detect Magic. Figure out if the Panther is magic. Figure out if all these other items are magical, and then we go use the Sage, right?
Well, I mean, we kind of know the knife is, but
the knife is for sure.
So detect magic, just determining if something is magical or not, is not 200. It's only 75. So read and detect are both 75 per casting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Identifying,
but he
like
can
getting.
Do it. Yes. He can do it.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question. Ask a question on read.
Yep.
So, like, if I can do magical research and one of those includes read magic, personally, what does that look like if I'm trying to, for instance, look at Cassandra's spellbook rather than handing it over to them?
Well,
I actually don't know the process.
Magical research is actually like coming up with your own spells or coming up with a listed spell on your own and developing it.
Okay.
Right. So you could certainly do that, but you just have to have the time and the money to do that. So like you could sit down at the Arcane Practitioners Club, use their resources, and actually research how to cast read magic. But it would cost you that listed amount, right? I think 1,000 gold, right? And then you would be able to scribe read magic into a new spell book, right? And you would know that spell then forever. See what I'm saying? You could do that equally, and I encourage it, especially with casters, to develop your own spells. You know, like brand new spells.
No, I gotcha. I guess what I was confused about was how read magic functioned if I like lost my spell book, because then I wouldn't be able to read magic without casting the spell.
That's right.
But you're saying the magical research for 1,000 would basically enable me to scribe read magic, and then I would use that to then further read other spells.
That's correct. Yeah, you could also, for half that cost, for 500 gold, you could research it and then inscribe it onto a scroll, which would be a one-time use. But then you could also just keep that scroll and use it to transcribe that scroll into your spell book. So it's a little complicated, but yeah.
No, I got you. Okay,
it's time and money. Time and money. Otherwise, the world is yours. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
All right. So for the time being, I think I'm fine getting the curse removed. I mean, we have these 3 scrolls, which probably are useful to know what they do. But aside from those, I don't think I need to deal with the Cassandra spellbook right now.
Okay, so you want to spend 500 gold to get the curse removed, right?
Yes.
Me too.
Okay. So 1,000 is the penny and boots curse removed, right?
I would like to just say, sometimes it's really fun to carry a cursed item around for a little while. There's literally no downside to it.
So this is what I'm going to say. We can go back to like getting stuff identified at the Arcane Practitioners Club. You're doing that in the afternoon at the same time Avaricios is having his cure disease cast on him. So you get all that done. We'll go back to whatever you want to have identified. But then at the evening time, you roll into the temples and you're going to have your own rituals take place where they remove the curse from you. And that will take the rest of the evening. So anything you do after getting the curse removed will be in the next day. Unless you actually want to do something at night and be nefarious or carouse. But going back in time, going back to the Arcane Practitioners Guild, is there anything else you want to have identified?
Boy.
Everything is the problem.
Let's just do one. Like, I'm curious about the dagger. I'm not going to use it, but I'm just curious. I will pay for the dagger. Let's just do it. I'll do detect magic on the other stuff.
Which dagger?
Laryl's dagger.
Okay.
And after that, I'll do Leryl's cloak, and that'll be the last thing I do as well. FYI.
Okay, so 400 for
400 total. Yeah.
Cloak and dagger.
What?
Ooh, how appropriate. Okay, now this one, during the day when you get these 2 items identified, all right, it takes an extraordinary amount of time. You actually see that a couple of these sages come out in the midst of the process and kind of observe you and look at you carefully, and then disappear back into their cavernous halls. All right, when they come out to announce what these are, you see that a number of different sages and functionaries actually split off into different hallways and go somewhere else. But you see like a troop kind of comes out. They're holding the items like an almost reverent way, and then a couple of them break off and go out exits to different places. Okay, and they take you to they actually usher you into like the inner halls into like a private room, and they which they assure you has been warded. It's almost like you're being taken like into like a safe deposit area of like a major bank, right, in Switzerland or something like that, right? And they look at you and they're like, you have no idea what these are, and they basically question you about like the context in which you found them and where they were found and all that kind of stuff. Do you?
That's going to cost them some money if they want to know that.
Yeah. Do you volunteer that information at all?
Here's another question. Do you let them know about the letters that you have as like provenance? Right?
That's I think a turn of the day in the future. I want to hear about this first, but I agree, right? Those are really valuable.
All I'm saying is, dude, if they want to know that information, we should.
No, I'm not going to give them.
What I'm saying is that they're asking you if you're willing, and they're not being like please tell us. You know, they're just like they're very serious. They're like looking at you and they're holding these things with reverence, and they want to know. They're just asking you like, under what, you know, where did you find these? How did you come by these? These are extremely powerful items. Do you understand what you are carrying? That's what they're sort of asking you.
I'm going to feign ignorance, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Please tell me.
Okay, Onweir, because this is taking place at the guild, before you go back to the temple to get your curse removed, you find that when your first instinct is to like, I'm not going to give them any information, that you cannot utter the lie. But you are in a zone of truth. But you are smart enough to not speak.
Got you.
Okay, so Avaricios and Gorand, you can see that Onweir is like, for some reason, like tongue-tied when he so rarely is, but the question still hangs in the air. And the more that it kind of goes on with like this awkward silence, the more that their brows sort of draw down, you know, in consternation, basically. Like, speak up. Can you tell us?
Of what import is this to you?
Because what we have here is its provenance is of the most is so important. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, I suppose. If you don't want to tell us, it's fine. You have paid us the fee. And I suppose finders keepers, they say. They're basically like, you know, they're mercenary mages, right? Like they just, you know, you pay them a fee and they'll identify what you want. And they say, they recommend what we're about to tell you. I highly suggest that you keep these items secret and that you do not let anyone know what they are, because they will be greatly desired by any number of possibly nefarious forces. So this, and they kind of fold out the ratty hooded cloak that's covered with patches, is none other than the cloak of the actual Laryl One-Eye, they say. This is confirmation that we have never had throughout the ages, that the man is more than myth. He actually existed. And in addition, this, and they hold up the very simple looking letter opener, is none other than Laryl's pin. So the hooded cloak covered with patches is the cloak that you have all heard growing up that he wore on his many adventures and used to deceive all sorts of people and nobility and such. It provides a bonus of +2 to AC, first of all.
Ooh.
It allows you to become invisible for 3 turns, which is 30 minutes, basically, 3 times per day.
Nice.
And it also improves reaction rolls for you by 25%, that's an AD&D first edition term. So that's, I would say that that's sort of like in between a 1 and a 2 on a D6. So I think it's pretty awesome already. So we'll say it's it gives you an additional 1 on the, well, no, it's a 2d6 roll for reaction, right? So we'll say it gives you a +2 bonus on the 2d6 reaction roll.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. It has a powerful, as you guys already knew this, actually, it was because of your true seeing that you guys had all had on you that you were able to detect that the thing was valuable at all, right? And they tell you, this is why they're sort of amazed that you even have it, because it would have gone unnoticed as like a piece of junk otherwise, right? As a powerful conceal magic effect on it. Only if detect magic is cast by a 9th level caster will its enchantment be revealed. So
wow,
it's just like, you know what I mean? It just looks like a normal piece of shit cloak. You know what I mean? Like they took it from you, and they were confident that they were just they were wondering why you were handing it to them. You know what I mean? Like, why are you handing this just junk? And then when they discovered what it actually was,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Laryl's pin. It's a simple dagger. Appears to be ornamental silver letter opener. Like it looks dull, right? Like a letter opener. However, it is 2 feet long, so it's a big letter opener.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. This is the famous dagger employed by Laryl and many of his adventurers, known as Laryl's pin. It is a dagger +3.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's the top level of pluses for
that's a good dagger right there.
several other powers. It provides a +1 dexterity to the wielder.
Baby, Barton, where are you?
any successful hit using the dagger inflicts slow on the victim. A save versus spells avoids it, negates it, so the victim does get a save. And that's it. The same exact thing. It has a powerful effect that enchants it, making it look like it is not enchanted. Needs a 9th level caster to detect that there is an enchantment on it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
When they tell
are we sure? Are we sure I can't use bladed weapons?
No.
So this is like
it looks like I'm a thief now, guys.
So this is a rare this is a kind of a cool thing, because you don't often see these in modern editions of D&D. These are artifacts, right? These are like the big heavy hitters, right? But these are native to this setting. So to them, it's not like the inherent power of them. It's more about the
uniqueness.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Like this is historical proof that Laryl One-Eye, who is basically like the equivalent of a Robin Hood, actually existed. And that's why they're so keen on learning, where did you find it? Right? That's
okay.
Yeah.
Can we powwow real quick as a party?
Yes.
I'm gonna say, this is amazing. Thank you so much. Could you just give me a moment to speak with my friends?
Of course, they
I'm going to come over to y'all and say, it appears that these are of, I tell you what they are, basically. I do not know what use this information would have to these men, if they are trustworthy, but I think identifying the sack and the letters is actually a high priority now. We should go ahead and do. But do we have anything we want to barter with them for this information, or is there any sort of like pact or agreement that we would prefer to have with them? Because it's now, I mean, they know we have it now, right?
Yeah, and those guys that's like split off and left.
They're all watching us, basically, right? So like, it would probably behoove us not to be in their bad graces, especially when they just told us, "Don't tell anyone you have this, because people will come for you."
Yeah.
That means we're coming for you.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if the 9th level wizard that can see the concealed thing is one of these fuckers. So, we could try to cut a deal with them, and I could go, if we find more, perhaps we could share the information with you, or some version of that.
I think it's worth it, man. These guys are sages, right? Like they're information dudes, right? So why don't you see if you can negotiate some sort of like ongoing thing with them where discount and safety, right? Like, for instance, the papers, I don't necessarily think they're magic. They were like love letters and shit like that, right?
But they're more proof, right?
Yeah.
More proof.
More proof and probably more insight and more knowledge and like all the rest of that. We could make a deal with them and say that, look, we have found parts of the Arden Vul dungeon that seem to be rife with historical information, and we will use you guys as our right of first refusal for selling, right? And in return, you guys give us a discount on finding out like what the items are that we actually get, right? Like what we actually find. So worst case scenario, maybe we get a discount on like all the identifies and all the rest of that shit, right? And then best case scenario, they'll at least think that we're going to come to them first if we get anything that might be along these same lines, right?
The only problem with that, Mike, is that you can't sell magic items.
I'm not selling, bartering, John. You said we could barter them.
Oh, well, okay. Maybe I take that back. Then it's like they're the whole idea in the game is that they are their own reward, right? So they don't. If you want to give them stuff, that's fine. But they're not
after them.
Yeah, they're not after them exactly.
But I was actually more talking about the letters. We don't really care about the letters, right?
Yeah, things of historical significance.
I
all
care
for.
About the letters. Yeah, but yes. I mean, what I might suggest then, as an iteration of this, is their reputation, right, as arcane sages, is on some level predicated upon proof of their findings, much in the way that the British Museum proved they found a lot of things.
Found. They found some stuff.
Which is to say that, like, I don't know if a discount is something they're going to be keen on, but I could say, hey, we, like you said, we have locations that we've discovered, and we are not, we may not need all of the items we find, but they have precious value, and we would like them to be keepsakes of someone important. If we could arrange this with you, and we could know that they would be safe in your hands, would that be a mutually beneficial arrangement? And if that's
so, you basically want the guild to be like a bank for your magic items? Because you can already get.
Go ahead, Sosa. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, you already have that with Wick Trimmer.
Yeah,
that's not what I'm really looking for.
I was more basically offering to make a donation of an item once in a while if it means that they like keep their mouths shut and we stay above board with them. And if we can get the bonus of having a discount on identifies, that'd be good. Right.
Identifies is the main thing.
We could at our discretion occasionally, maybe we bring them some items here and there, but I don't know. I don't know if that's worth it.
So just basically economy wise, it's like they require like first of all they've cornered the market on a very specialized skill, right? Like identifying stuff. So you can't really go to anybody else. So so they could just tell you to walk. In addition, though, like just casting the spells is costly with components and all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
And because like you donating a magic item that even if it has historical significance can't be turned into money that can then be used as components to offset that.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Then why don't we not keep it too complicated? I'll say this just for the sake of the game. I obviously want to know what his stuff is, right? So, like, if there's not something we can, I guess the main thing is I want assurances they're not going to send fucking bounties after us for these items. Is the main thing that I, Onweir, am concerned about.
Right. That will be difficult. That will be difficult for them to. I mean, they're obviously not going to admit that they're going to do that, but
I think they will probably say no if you ask them.
Assurances are going to be tough.
For this stuff.
Yeah. David, we have to make them think that we're more valuable as agents for them than as guys who are just walking around carrying shit that they want, right? So I would say, look, I would go back to saying, look, we have had some success in Arden Vul. We have discovered some areas that we are going to be exploring soon that we think might be related to this. By the way, we also found these documents with these items. Maybe they are of interest to you, and we would give them to you for your library, Something along those lines. Give them the love letters. You took the ashes. You took the ashes for the guy, right?
Yeah, you have his body.
Well, this is the whole other thing. I know, you guys. I know.
Look,
we're getting there, baby. We're getting there. But the point is, like, I'm not going to just donate something for no reason if there's no assurance I'm really getting out of it.
You're not donating it for no reason, dude. You're basically making us more valuable to them alive than dead, right?
Right. So
and trying to build a relationship with them in the first place.
Right. I think our value alive is as discoverers of these locations. You know.
No, they agree with that.
Sharing the information of how we got there. Now the issue is if we've already plundered it, what does it matter to them? Not that they know, but like maybe it has some value to them still from like an archaeological standpoint. But that's like promising. That's the next juncture of promise. I think what we could do in this situation is identify the sack, show them the letters, get information about that, and say, "Hey, we all know this is his shit." You know what I mean? Like, and we have some leads on other historical figures in Arden Vul, and can bring information about them to you in the future, so long as we don't die on the way. You know,
right?
I don't know.
So in return, so what you're asking for in return is that they don't give you up, is what you're saying?
Yes. I mean, it sounds like that's all we can get out of it.
Yeah. So they're completely on board with that. They don't want to see you hurt. In fact, that's why they gave you the warning. Like, they're like, be careful, because what you're carrying out of there is stuff that a lot of people would kill you for. And they're saying, now, whether you believe them or not, they're like, we're not those kind of people. We're just here for business, but we're just letting you know, that maybe some other people may be interested in knowing that you guys are pulling out these unbelievable items. So be careful,
All right.
We of course, though, are the soul of discretion, and we can guarantee that any information that you bring to us will not be disseminated to outside parties.
Sure.
As you watch the other guys leave through the exits.
Yes. I mean, I think for the time being, look, in the interest of time, because we're running over, why don't we identify the other two items and we can discuss further schemings as needed? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sure. So what were the other two items?
The bag,
sack, and the letters, I believe.
Okay, so
we don't think those letters were magic.
Do you want them to cast detect magic on the letters? Or would you rather?
I'll just do it for free tomorrow. It saves us some money.
Okay, we'll save it on the money. Let's just do the sack for now.
Okay. You know what? They'll give this to you because of what you brought before them. They tell you that the notes are not magical. However, they are an important historical artifact because they are written in the hand of Laryl One-Eye. So they're quite valuable, right? Obviously, priceless. You would almost say,
who would be interested in the most aside from them?
Well, they tell you the obvious answer would probably be Master Establion, the bookseller up in the upper market. He is a rare bookseller. He would be, of course, fascinated by this. Of course, any one of thiefly pursuits would, of course, be quite desirous of anything that could be attributed to Laryl One-Eye, their patron, their hero.
Let's find the Thieves Guild and give them a little artifact for something. Okay, we can scheme with that. That's how we're going to prevent that. No, go ahead. What's that, Mike?
I wasn't raising my hand. I was waiting, but I was going to say no. Next one of us that dies and plays a thief will get those items. We're not going to get
absolutely,
weird guild member.
Okay, so you spend another 200 for Laryl's sack, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they once again are astounded. We'll say this kind of all got rolled in as like the identification of Laryl's stuff. So this looks like an ordinary looking cotton sack. Same sort of thing. Powerful enchantment, 9th level caster, blah blah blah. But it is pretty fucking awesome. It serves as, first of all, a bag of holding. Yup. A bag of holding is so much cooler in older editions because, as you guys now know,
so much stress that we had over like, how are we going to carry this shit out? We could have dumped all the treasure in that bitch.
Well, maybe this specific bag can hold 5,000 coins, which in terms of encumbrance, in our house rule is 50 slots.
Oh my God.
So it's a 50 slot bag. However, it is a sack, right? It is a large sack. So it is not like just like a loose sack that just sort of, even when it has. So the moment that you put anything in it, it is something that has to be carried with two hands, like a large sack.
Sure.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, but still, it's a thing that you're carrying with two hands that holds 50 slots.
Right.
So it's pretty cool. In addition, though, it has many of the features of a robe of useful items, which is what Mort had discovered. Okay. So you can reach into it. And this was what Ted was sort of experimenting with, is like how crazy he could get with the things he was pulling out of there. And it's sort of a DM fiat thing, but you can basically, the way it works is that you can instantly locate whatever small, mundane item that is required at that moment. That's the only ruling. So it's something that I kind of have to judge case by case, but you know what I mean. You know what the rules as intended is. It's like an average piece of gear, something that you could probably carry easily with like one hand out of a bag, right? You could basically pull that out, but it has to be very mundane, not a complex mechanism or anything like that, right?
It'd be like rope.
Rope, yeah, as long as it was coiled, you know what I mean? You could pull that out. Yeah. But you couldn't pull out like a spyglass or a sextant, or a clockwork thing or anything like that, or anything of value. Like you can't pull out money, right?
But I could pick a picture of Goran's mother would come out of that because it's not worth much.
That's not mundane.
Oh,
man, that's like that's premium right there.
Actually, I have delimitations here. So, will not produce items larger than 15 pounds in weight, or worth more than 15 gold. It will not produce sentient creatures or monsters, although chickens and mice are possible, like basic animals like that.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys.
And it won't produce weapons or magical items. All right. And I think they just wrote that just like to curb players' ways of trying to kind of skirt around like the edges of edge case sort of stuff. But the intent, like a boring item you can pull out of there whenever you need.
We got chicken on the menu, boys. We got a ration box here. This is great. Wow.
Yeah, and he also got the sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's our boy.
Yeah.
Woo!
So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty
very rad items. Love them.
All right, so that's a pretty good ending, I think. You've identified Laryl's artifacts. Opens up a whole new avenues for you as far as adventuring.
Wow, those are amazing.
Yeah, they're great. They would be great for you in use in the dungeon, but also just as leverage in all sorts of situations, right? Like depending on what you wanted to do with the knowledge that you actually have historical artifacts in your hands. We'll pick it up again with another round of them doing shit in Gosterwick. So we got a lot of stuff that we need to do. I'm sure Ted's going to want to have a say as well for next time.
Yes. I can tell you this, that my next stop is going to be to the Mercenaries Guild to start shopping for dwarves.
Shopping for dwarves. Okay.
Keep those on the bottom shelf.
Yeah.
You need to deal with Dalton and Heliogabalus and Yost. You need to maybe talk to Eusebia. I don't know if you want to do that. Maybe the Green Lady. You need to. Vericius needs to find some sort of trainer for his hand, right? For using your hand. And you still have a bunch of stuff that maybe you want to identify. So yeah. So and then
so I have one more question about the halberd. One more question.
Mm-hmm.
If I walk up to the Temple of Law, whatever it is, and I said, "I have for you a weapon of incredible power for the lawful natured, and I will trade it to you for a +2 short sword." They're gonna be like, nope, can't do it.
Maybe if they had a +2 short sword, but it's just you know what I mean. Like that market of magic items just doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It's just not a thing. You know what I mean? It devalues the wonder of magic items. So it's just not a thing. So yeah, there's. What was I going to say? All the scrolls and the spell book.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If you want to do that sort of stuff, read magics and all that sort of stuff.
We don't have that much actual money left, guys. I mean, that's the thing that we got to think about here too. And David, you're looking blue a little bit. Is that when you start banging us out for not you, John, but I'm saying when they start banging us out for $200 per identify, And then, that's going to go through our money really fast. We're not going to have enough money for dwarven like armsmen and shit like that.
Well, remember also, I mean, we have money in the bank. Like we left money in the bank here last time we were here.
I know.
It's not just the money we have in our hands right now.
Yeah.
We have other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. To your point though, Mike, I do think it behooves us to consider what items are actually worth identifying now and what are worth storing, because I would much rather have a bunch of dwarves helping us take out the halflings or whatever we scheme,
right.
in the immediate, because that'll be far more useful to us in our survivability than carrying around like just a treasure trove of items that we're not using. But, we can figure that out.
And it's also like the spending the money is just a matter of just spending money. And that's like the easy route. That's like the shortcut, but there's also the identifying is also like experimenting, or maybe that's a thing. You know what I mean? It can be done, and like if you do the right thing, I'll just relay what that equates to mechanically. You know what I mean? That sort of thing.
But how many times would I have to be in combat with that halberd to realize that it's a +3 weapon versus evil clerics and +4 versus clerics?
Yeah, that's why you spend the money. You know what I mean? Now you're sure.
Like we wouldn't know that my sling is an alarm, or that. I mean, unless I just really wished to be invisible at some point.
Well, this is why I was pressing you guys on like identifying the weapons that the NPCs have.
Yeah.
Because who knows? Like you gave them those weapons, but who knows if them using them is the best use for those weapons?
Yeah.
It could be something. Yeah, we should.
Yeah. I think we should take them back, to be honest. But yeah.
But I just want to let you know, like. Identifying your stuff is not the only route. The fastest route is to spend money on it here. That's the sure route. But there are other ways to do it. And
I know it's worth
I just need a one-handed weapon. I just need a one-handed weapon. That's all I need. Because there's no way I can give up. I can't give up a +2 shield.
Dude, use the dagger. Use that dagger.
But am I the best person for it? Because Morton might want it, And he needs some stuff too.
But the thing is, like, you have to think too, Gorn, that like in your hands that dagger does a D10.
Yeah.
And it's +3. And also D10, you have the hit points to tank. So even if your AC isn't like as maxed out as it possibly could be, you're still like, when you do get hit, you can take it a little bit more. You know what I mean? I'm just saying it. Like, I know you want as much defense as possible, but it's sort of like if you're never getting hit anyways, having the 24 hit points doesn't really matter.
Plus your little dwarven hands can't carry a real sword anyway. So
it's gonna look. It's gonna look like a sword in your hand anyway. Come on.
Here's my point, though, guys. Like with that dagger, right? Like 24 hit points, 19 armor class, and a +5 to hit, and 1d10 +3 to damage. I'll go take on a monkey at that point. Like I'll go.
Yeah,
that's
you got
badass.
The shield, you got the deck. Come on.
All I'm saying is there's a ruby throne that can fund all of the identifying we need to do.
That's the way to think.
This whole session, no one said it this whole session, but I want to get your spell book. I absolutely do. I really want the big giant gemstone, dude.
Hey,
we bring that thing back here.
Yeah.
We bring that thing back here. We're gonna have our own castle. It's gonna be like. That's our house.
You have a lot of reasons to go back into that level.
Can't wait.
But Avaricios Matt made a good point, is that you do have a lot of stuff that's already banked at Wick Trimmers. So, this money you're bringing into town is not like your entire stuff. So,
perfect.
So yeah, just keep it in mind. We'll talk about it in Discord and all that kind of good stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Can we just keep playing though? Can we just kind of go for another hour?
Wait, first we should all agree that we actually rolled 10 hit points and he also got a 1.
It's only fair, really.
We also all agreed that I heard it. He forfeited his entire share of gold for our remove curse. It was
that's true. That's true. Yeah, he's like that. He's a good guy like that.
That's so Mort.
Thanks, Ted.
What a friend in need.
From beyond the grave. That's true. He is just an up-jumped henchman, really, when it comes down to it. All right, that was super fun, guys. Cool. All right, we'll pick it up again next time. Don't forget, everyone, you've been watching 3D6 Down the Line, and please like and subscribe and spread the word. And everyone have a great week, and we will see you next time. Adios.
Take care. Thanks, John.